Hey, what's up, everybody?
Whoa.
Welcome to Rabbit Stew. It's Wednesday, so that means it's comic book day. I'm your overlord. This is on my right. No, well, you're
we're
both
both
on
on
my
your
right.
right.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
The song is worthless
Who's it
now.
going to be talking about? I don't even know. I'm Scott, guys, and we have a special guest today.
Hey, welcome, Bronze. And it's ThatBronzeGirl?
Yes.
ThatBronzeGirl. Is it just twitch.tv/ThatBronzeGirl?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's it.
everyone, post a link in the chat to her Twitch channel. Go follow it right now. You have no reason not to, so just go follow that. So, guys, welcome. It's Wednesday, which means we're going to talk about all sorts of exciting stuff. Lots of #1 comics came out this week. Lots of follow-ups to big events and stuff. We will probably have a spoiler-full argument about Civil War 2 again. We did that last time, and we're like, we have a couple things to say. 30 minutes later, we were still arguing about it.
If you haven't read Civil War 2 yet, maybe now's a good time to breeze right through it before we get to talking about it.
Yeah, that'll be the last thing we talk about today. So
Definitely stirs up your feelings. You're
Little
gonna
bit.
feel strongly about it. There's no
one way or
way you
another.
can feel, I'm in the middle. No, you're gonna be team red or team blue. There's no in between here.
I'm gonna go Team Gray just to prove you wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty stuck in the middle. That's because I feel
We're just
strong.
gonna.
We're already getting
Before
started.
the cameras rolled, you were like,
Well, as I said, I told you I'm on one side, but I'm also more on this other side. We'll get to it. But
Yeah. Basically, you'll find I will disagree with anything you say just to disagree.
yeah. Be careful.
That's I play devil's advocate
Only the Sith deal in absolutes.
constantly. That's very true. Very true.
I'm a Sith, so that works.
Okay, cool. We'll get along just fine. I would also like to remind everybody that being Wednesday, we have a couple other really big shows coming up later in the day. We have Watching Paint Dry next with Viking Lass, where she paints mechs and repairs the damage that was done. And we usually have a guest artist filling in to help show what kind of cool art they do. And then after that, we have Corporate Wars, which if you are a subscriber to our channel, you get access to our Discord. And on Discord, you get to join a corporation of one of the 10 corporations represented in Shadowrun. And in that corporation, you get to make friends, do cool stuff, spend action points, attack other corporations, murder Arizlin. It's really friendly. It's a really friendly environment. And that'll be happening at around 5:30 PDT today. And then at 6 p.m., we have Shadowrun Corporate Sins, which is our big Shadowrun RPG, and it's a lot of fun. And then after that, we have Honesty Hour. Holy shit, it is a full day.
Wow.
It's like a full 14 hours of programming on
That is
today
a
because we
full
went early.
broadcast day.
Fuck my life, man.
It's good though. It's good though. We had
I'm
Emily and
crazy.
Ryan losing their shit in the morning. That was lots of fun.
Last night, I got to murder people, and I felt
That was
pretty good
also
about it.
lots of fun.
Have you played Dead by Daylight yet?
I have.
What do you think about
I'm
it?
obsessed with it.
Okay.
I'm
I
obsessed with it.
have only played as the killer, and I will only play as the killer. I will not play as some bullshit survivor. I am the killer, and I am the hillbilly killer, and it was a lot of fun.
The hillbilly was really hard for me.
I love that chainsaw.
It's-
See him
it's hard
halfway
to
across the map.
maneuver.
Yeah, it is really hard to maneuver. But
If you have to turn at all, as a survivor,
Yeah.
since I play survivor, the strategy is if you turn even a little bit, he just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you hear that chainsaw, just make a sharp right and then just watch with satisfaction as he runs into a tree.
yeah,
And
they weren't that smart.
oh,
So I had fun. I could see them halfway across the map and just and just jet towards them.
This is
and
why Zach didn't
in
ask
the
you to
back.
play. It's because he needs prey that he can hunt.
Yes,
Right?
That's what he's looking
my
for.
crew. Yes, my crew.
Yes, exactly.
Specifically my crew.
Yes, those of us who are not
you feed on the weed.
somehow we're trapped.
Most definitely.
Let's Adapt has a good question. Who's on Honesty Hour tonight?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We're trying to get Steph from DFA. We're waiting for her to respond. And the thing is, because my family gets in town right now, because my dad is going to be joining tomorrow on Trivia Hops Father's Day. It's gonna be great.
I am so excited.
So tomorrow on the channel, we're doing a special Trivia Hops. It's Father's Day, so we've asked some of our hosts. So Kirby will be a guest with his dad. I will be a guest with my dad. I don't drink. My dad makes his own moonshine and beer. So
This is gonna be great.
I don't know. He just landed.
Wait,
We'll
so-
find out whether or not they took his homemade alcohol out of his bag.
You and Kirby are both going to be contestants.
Contestants
Who
with
is-
our fathers.
Who is hosting?
Sally.
And who's just by herself?
Sally's got this shit. If you
Sally's
want to
flying
co-host,
solo.
you are more than welcome to co-host if you would like to.
Man,
But oh
Wanna
man,
watch the wreckage?
I might just have to. The problem is, if I co-host, I don't know if I'll be able to just watch and drink.
That's true. You have to be a professional host, which is a
I
problem
like
because
playing
no one
the,
does that.
No, nobody does that. I don't know. Maybe I think I might do that, so I don't think I could because I don't know if I could handle that.
You want to try some of that homemade
Plus,
moonshine.
I like that. I like the Trivia Hops drinking game where you just drink every time anybody has to drink. It's the one I play at home. Works well.
Well, you guys play at home too, and then you will get calls about our audience members being sent to the hospital, which is great.
Don't do that.
Don't do what
that.
don't do what our guests do. Comedians seem to have livers that are more adapt to drinking nonstop. Jesus, every week it's the comedians that just don't stop drinking.
Really?
Yeah, they go nuts.
And yet you've asked Kirby back like every week.
Yeah. This will actually be Kirby's last Trivia Hops.
It
Kind of
will,
sad.
that's right.
Because Kirby's moving to Chicago, so this will be his last one with his dad. So it'll be interesting. That's tomorrow. But my family gets in town like right now. They're landing. They'll probably get to the studio while this show's going on. So I might be handing the reins. I'm gonna start Honesty Hour tonight, but somebody else might end it. So I can basically just not have to be there till 1 a.m. and be like, okay, this is where you sleep. This is where my refrigerator is, and that kind of stuff for my parents and stuff like that. So
Set them up.
taking care of business. So, other stuff that we get to talk about today, and we get to recap what happened Monday on Valiant Vanquish, which leaves you completely in the dark. We like to take care of our guests.
I'll translate with artistic motions.
So, Monday night.
Okay, I'm excited for this.
You are now interpretive dancing on
All
our
right.
channel. Have fun.
It should go perfectly well.
So, man, now I feel like extra pressure to
I know.
explain what happened in a way that leads to your artistic expression.
So we started out with the gang where we had left off, 4 of them all in a car headed towards a hotel, whereas Alara, was unconscious.
Wait, this is
in the
hotel?
backseat.
This is
I
hotel?
don't-
This is hotel.
Because it's in a
This is hotel. You did not take sign language classes at all.
I said interpretive motion. I didn't say sign language.
Interpretive expression of a hotel is GIF it, please.
Okay.
GIF that.
It
Please do.
worked. It's what came into my head.
You're gonna fit in well here.
Yeah, you'll do great.
So anyway, we
Special
open up in the
guest
car.
today.
And we're quickly interrupted by a robotic hand trying to eat a puppy. Chaos ensued. Some of the team decided that they should maybe try to get some food for this hand.
Yes.
So,
Yes. An American
Phallic
Express
gesture by
only.
accident.
Yes, so-
Geek 40, one of our community members,
Yes,
made a
we-
special appearance.
we read into Geek 40, who sold Erida and Detective Cross some food, and that took about 45 minutes.
Yep. The cash register was broken, and the credit card machine only took American Express. Amex only.
They finally got some meat into the arm, which allowed them to go on for a little bit longer. Then we had to stop because the arm had to eat the back half of a horse.
Yep.
That
Shit went
was-
down.
that
There was a
was
horse that was eaten,
awesome.
and then it had to be beheaded.
Yeah.
With an axe hand. And then there was the motel, and then there was
Yes.
a toilet that got disappeared.
Went to a
and,
motel. Olivia took a shower, which meant that all kinds of shit went down.
She walked around naked. He got embarrassed.
Yeah. Excitedly so.
Luckily there's been no fan art of that yet.
No, there's been,
'Cause we can't
been
share
no
that.
fan out of that. I've heard that there's already been some shipping in the Discord.
Really? There's already shipping?
I've
It's
heard
gonna be
it's
you and
that.
Eves. You and Eves are gonna hate love each other.
I know. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for that. I'm worried about people are gonna start shipping me with Fang. I'm not even gonna care that we're on different games. That's what I'm most worried about.
Wow, that's weird.
Think about it, Alara and Fang.
I'd rather not. But, and then a police officer, and
So,
there
yeah.
was chomping, and then there was flying to Octavio Gonzalez. Basically, we learned a lot. And I think even though the episode, and something that I want to tell everybody, as our second episode, we're experimenting a lot. We've only done 2 episodes, and as a group, that means we've played together twice, because we did no trial runs.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, because of everyone's schedule on the show, everyone has full-time jobs, they're busy. We don't have time to practice, so the practicing happens live on the air. So we are experimenting quite a bit, and we experimented with a couple different styles last week, and next week you can expect other experimentation until we as a group find where everyone likes that style from an audience and player perspective. So we will keep experimenting until we get exactly what we want. That being said, from a story standpoint, you ignore mechanics, which anyway, you should be fucking ignoring mechanics anyway. This is a queue system, story-driven RPG. Like, for rules lawyers on something like this, go fuck yourself. Really? Come on.
Yeah.
It is literally in the book says at least 4 or 5 times, make it up.
Yeah, it even addresses, like, this is a comic book world. You're going to have to play with the rules, and every power level is going to have to fit the story you're telling, just the way comic books work. Like, that's almost a verbatim quote from the rule book. They tell you, have fun with it. It's comics.
It's
you
comic
would think
books.
that the people that push up their nerd glasses are like, but in the rules it says... You think that they would read that?
That part too. They're very selective with what they like to focus on. You roll this die for this, or do that, or do it like this, or do it like this, and it's like literally you can play the game any way you want. It's a story-driven game, which is why that is partly why it existed that way. Now, from a story standpoint, we learned a lot, and I think a lot of people don't know how much story was being told because the story was actually pretty hidden underneath a lot of stuff. I feel like that's the episode that like 6 months from now, people are going to go back and watch and be like, oh shit, it was all right there all the time. There were so many things that were kind of one line mentioned and then walked away from, or one thing here and then walked away from, or something that was happening within the roles and within the combat that revealed huge things about characters that we didn't focus on. So you'll come back to it months from now and realize we prepped you for all of that.
Very exciting.
All of it.
Yeah, it was a good episode. It was a good time. It was our second episode. Come back Monday night at 6 p.m. to see the third one. The first 2 are already up on YouTube, which, that's impressive.
Yeah.
You guys are kicking ass putting stuff online.
Emily's been killing it lately. Emily's been killing it. The only time it's tough is on Fridays because we go home on the weekend.
Of course.
Or she does.
Yeah.
Sometimes she still works. Like last week, she came here over the weekend, uploaded stuff, and then put it out. So Emily's been rocking it. So you guys should say thank you to Emily for killing it on those YouTube uploads. Everybody tweet at Emily right now. And by that, I mean tweet at hyper_RPG. That's her job. So schedule those tweets.
You can tweet her gifs of my hotel.
There you go. Tweet her hotel.
She
gonna
won't
keep
be
doing
offended
this.
at all.
We gotta give them. Okay,
gonna be so many gifts of this
we're gonna
by
do
the
it
end of
together,
the day.
okay? And 3, 2, 1.
Hotel. That's what this...
Yep. We gotta do it again,
I
man.
got-
Come
I
on.
missed-
You have to do the
I don't know the
box.
timing. I don't
You
know.
get too excited
Okay.
about this
Okay.
box.
If you do just this without this, then it's like a seedy motel. We said hotel.
Maybe I was doing it too long. I've been told that's what people like. I'm sorry.
Okay. In 3,
Ready,
2,
set.
1. Hey, there we go. Now you've got it.
Synchronized.
You're welcome. Thanks, internet.
You're welcome, internet.
But that's basically, we ended the episode with Miss Eves being kidnapped
Kidnapped outside of Gonzalez's apartment.
outside of Octavio Gonzalez's as we were leaving. The building floor is about to collapse, and we are in 6th Street, downtown Los Angeles. And I don't know about you guys, but I also mentioned that 10 clicks out was more PRS agents, which means we start the next episode with a collapsing building, being on Skid Row, and having to have more agents showing up. So we'll see how they handle that and how they get out of that situation. That'll be interesting. So tune in Mondays at 6 p.m. to see Scott and I, and it'll be a lot of fun.
And a few other people, including AJ, who's hanging out in the chat right now.
Yeah, and actually Liz is too. They're both in there. They're both in there hanging out.
Oh, there she is. Hey, look at that.
Yep. So, guys, should we start talking about, and gals? I just say guys generally.
I don't get it. Yeah, it's
yeah. It's a Southern thing for the most part. In fact, in the South, we would always just say, hey, guy,
Really?
to everyone. What's up, guy? Hey, guy. And guy was kind of like, y'all.
I grew up on the West Coast, so I do that with dude.
Okay, yeah, dude.
Yeah. In
You
high
say
school, I
dude
called
to
my
anybody.
teachers dude.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
I mean, I was a teenager, so it was also like a douchey teenager thing. But yeah, I did.
I guess we're all kind of still douchey teenagers in our own way.
That's why we're
We
here.
just all synchronously,
More of like a jaded adult.
a jaded adult.
Yeah.
You did the hotel thing. You were totally like a bullshit
Also,
teenager.
you know who describes themselves as jaded adults? Teenagers.
Really?
I am so.
No, I just see young
So,
people
like,
and I'm
just
like,
so
I just want to
jaded.
eat my Raisin Bran and stay in bed, you know? Like,
Preaching to the choir.
right?
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, oh my god, E3. And I'm like, I want to sit at home and watch it on TV. That looks exhausting.
I mean, that's what I did.
Right?
It was good.
I sat in bed and drank wine and read comics and watched it. Like, y'all can go to the clubs. Shit. I'm not. That's what I mean. I'm old. When I see like the young whippersnappers, I'm just like.
You just described an
so
exciting
much
Friday night at
energy.
my house.
Yeah.
There you go.
We play role-playing games on the internet. Come on. That's what we do. We are, yeah.
Pretend I'm a.
I had the day off yesterday, so I
Half
reread
orc.
Dark Phoenix. I was like, oh,
You reread Dark Phoenix,
Yeah,
huh?
I
Man,
just-
what a waste of time.
I love Dark Phoenix.
I do
Man.
too.
Part of the beginning at the Hellfire Club. It's awesome. So yeah, let's talk
Oh.
news.
Speaking of which, though, there was one other little joke that's in there. We have another week down where Tara still does not realize that it's not Project Rising Star. I even tried to do it with NPC this time when she said Project Rising Star, and Octavia was like, what are you talking about? Never mind. So we'll see how long we can run with that and troll Tara in that way. Luckily, she doesn't watch any of our other programs, so she has no idea that everyone else is aware that she's being trolled. So, yeah, what was up? What do we got going on?
Yeah, let's talk some news. Some comic book news.
All right.
Like we just mentioned, E3 is this week and next week. So it looks like Sony got the goods for comic books this year. They're announcing a bunch of new VR stuff, and so included with that is this Batman Arkham VR, which the reveal trailer doesn't show much, but it sure sounds good. So we are going to listen to it.
We're gonna listen to it. Is this? I mean, it's got to be better than that first teaser we saw for Injustice 2, right? Were you here for that?
Yeah, where it was just like the armor. Where it's looking now like the gimmick of Injustice 2 is going to be customizable superheroes. Which, I mean, I saw a picture of Hal Jordan with a Red Lantern logo, so I'm on board, because that sounds fun.
Hal's an asshole.
Ooh.
That's why he gets the Rage Lantern logo. I'm down. Make Hal evil. Make Kyle white. It's awesome.
Guy Gardner is so much.
Okay, if we're going to talk assholes, Guy Gardner is my favorite Green Lantern, but he is definitely an asshole.
Well, yeah, but he fits better as a Red Lantern than.
Yes,
This is gonna be a
that's what it
really long conversation.
But yeah, I mean, anyway.
No, I'm game.
Customizable
I'm game.
superheroes are going to be in Injustice 2.
Keep knocking Scott down. This is great. Go for it.
I would love it if Guy Gardner would be in Injustice. I just don't believe he's going to be.
No, people don't know who he is.
So sad.
Whenever, just in general, I feel like Sinestro's a huge character. When people are like, "What's your favorite comic right now?" I'm like, Sinestro Corps. People are like, "Who dat?" And I'm like, "What?"
That book is so good.
I'm like, yeah,
It
you
just
know,
ended, but
I
it's so
love the
good.
Lantern universe because I love the Red Lanterns and the Yellow, the Sinestro Corps. And people just pull a new phone who dis on this. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know who that is?
Guys-
The Lanterns get a bad rap, I feel like.
They do.
People have so much, like, bad information about it. Like, they're weak to the color yellow. No, that's
that
not.
stopped being true
Hello?
in like the early 90s.
As soon as the yellow impurity was no longer.
Yeah, Hal
in-
Jordan went crazy and
Yeah.
they fixed it.
They fixed it, yeah. And, like, they're weak to wood. I'm like, that.
That was the golden age. I know, I've seen that joke that was on Big Bang Theory once too, but that doesn't mean you've read Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Which is
Nor did they.
nor did they.
Nor did those writers in
that-
Hollywood that, yeah.
I like that DC Rebirth kind of did that with the Aquaman.
Yeah.
They talked about how everybody makes fun of Aquaman. I'm like, that is a thing, though. Everybody makes fun of Aquaman.
Well, I mean, who else are you going to make fun of? He is the punching bag of the DC
But
universe.
it's a shame though, because in the comics he's been consistently awesome for like decades.
Well, yeah, the last run was
problem
pretty
is
good.
That there was Super Friends, and people still think of that when they think of Aquaman.
I think a lot of it's the costuming, too.
yeah,
The
but like
Underoos?
it was in like the late 80s or early 90s when Peter David's Aquaman had like the hook and like the beard, and like he's been awesome for a long time.
Even then, he still looked like he walked right out of a San Francisco gay club. Like,
I think the problem is mostly
and that's
the
not to be
name.
made fun of. I just think it's like compared to the other superheroes, I feel like he's always had unfortunate costuming. Like, why isn't Namor under the same scrutiny? Because Namor is a badass in the Marvel universe, and he's wearing black. And
But
like,
see, I think that's
Speedo,
different though.
too,
Aquaman
doesn't
it?
is also a badass in the DC universe. The difference, I think, is really Super Friends. It's that there's this thing that was the iconic, is what people thought of for such a long time, and like they never got over it. The reason why Namor isn't under the same scrutiny isn't because he's a badass. It's because nobody gives a fuck about Namor. People actually care about Namor.
He dropped a
Are you about
fucking
to
planet on some people like a badass.
Yeah, and, like,
he was
the
the
only
only motherfucker that was willing to take the heat and be like, you know what? I'm the only real king here.
Care. Not even the Avengers seem to give a shit about that. That's how little that matters.
Whatever. Look at
that. Nobody likes Namor.
Hickman gets Namor, and Hickman kicked ass writing
Namor. Hickman also made us all think Annihilus was sweet, but like that doesn't mean that somebody else is going to do it well.
No, that's true. Unfortunately, even Dan Abnett can't seem to make him
I think Aquaman is cooler than Namor for sure.
That's because he is.
I think that's bullshit, but whatever.
You're entranced by the speedo.
I will. Well, no, I'm not entranced. I think Namor was written really well in X-Men for a while. Like when he was involved with the whole like Emma, Scott, all that kind of stuff. Like he had some great stuff in there because he's such an asshole and above it all, you know, and he knows he's better than everyone else, but at the same time his kingdom was taken away from him. And then when you threw him on the Illuminati, it was fucking rad. Like having him arguing with Black Panther on a daily basis, every time they got in a conversation, I was like, this is awesome. Like two kings that were so different from everyone else because they represented entire cultures. Like it was awesome. It was great. But whatever.
That entire family is so angsty though.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like, ugh.
That's the X-Men in general, though.
It's also the Marvel Atlanteans in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
Pretty much anything mutant related is angsty.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's true. I was just reading Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, that's pretty angsty.
That trade, by the way, starts out with like where you first meet Kitty Pryde, and like the very first thing she does is like run upstairs because she's embarrassed by her parents. It's just so.
I'm gonna take this from these guys and say vote for Namor. They're currently voting between Namor or Aquaman. Who's better?
Aquaman is so much better. And yes, Liz, we could totally agree that Mira is better than both Aquaman and Namor. Aquaman's wife is such a badass.
And she's a total babe.
Mm-hmm. She's firing on all cylinders.
Remember that time I pulled up that Batman Arkham VR trailer?
Let's talk about this Batman reveal trailer, which is really just like...
All right, Joe, we're cutting to it. We're cutting to it for real this time.
How do you feel when you put on that mask? Are you hiding from the world? Or do you want the world to hide away from you? Maybe you feel invincible. More than just a man. Or maybe you're just like me. You see that life is nothing but a sick joke, and so you choose a face to match. But what happens when we become what we pretend to be? When illusion becomes the new reality? Does it even matter? After all, if you find a mask that fits, you never need to take it off.
So you get to be Batman.
Yes. I saw a report from somebody who did play it on the E3 floor.
Wait. Oh, so it's actually on the E3 floor already?
It is on the E3 floor.
Wow.
Who said that like it starts off with the death of a very important Bat character, whom I'm not going to name because I didn't warn you all about spoilers. But the way like it's... Of course, it was somebody who, on the first day of E3, ran right to the Batman thing, so it's going to be somebody like me who's going to love it no matter what. But it sounds just spectacular. I am super excited about it.
I cannot fucking wait for VR to get tight enough that you can actually be a superhero.
Yeah, and to me, and this segues well into our next conversation, what the real dream to me, web swinging.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fucking web swinging in VR. We can stop after that.
I mean, then again, it's not going to live up to my dreams. I've been dreaming that I'm Spider-Man since I was like 12.
That's true. There's nothing
and I, about once a week, dream that I'm web swinging, and it's pretty cool in my dreams, and somebody's going to try to design that, and I'm going to be like, sorry, you missed the mark.
One of my favorite webcomics ever. There's a webcomic called JL8, which is about the Justice League as 8-year-olds. It's adorable. And there's a very early one where Batman's walking like down the hallway of his school, just going choo choo choo, and Superman shows up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm playing Spider-Man." And they both walk down going choo choo. Like even Superman and Batman are like, "Man, wouldn't it be fucking sweet to have like web swinging?"
Yeah.
It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah, I want to be Spider-Man. And that brings up the next one, which is the new Spider-Man PS4 trailer. We're going to watch it and then have some comments on it. So considering we were arguing about it before the show even started. Get into it.
People see me and think they're safer,
Who's this voice, by the way?
I have no idea.
but it's not really me they're seeing.
It's an older Spider-Man. We know that much.
Probably
Maybe my
for the
original theory is
best.
false.
Knowing everything hinges on a guy from Queens sounds as scary as it feels. No pressure, right?
Yeah, web flinging.
You got stuff on the bottom of his
That
face.
this looks so great.
Right? That's so cool.
And we're gonna get apparently Mr. Negative in this.
Really?
Yeah, well that's it's Mr. Negative's demons. Which definitely means comic book storyline, which is cool. Yeah. Face. Oh, that looks so good. Dude. Okay.
After that and the Batman trailer, my girlfriend and I were like, it's time to get a PS4.
Yeah.
We've been Xbone gamers, and it's time. So if anything's gonna sell me, it's gonna be Batman and Spider-Man.
Okay. That looks awesome to me.
That looks so awesome.
But I have been burned by Spider-Man
I
games.
was gonna say that.
Like,
There's been so many.
yeah, it's
terrible
easy to make them look awesome.
it's easy to make them look awesome, and then you get those controls in your hands and be like, what the fuck is this? Like
Yeah.
Web of Shadows or whatever that one was fuck that. And then
Yeah.
there's been some good ones. The Ultimate Comic Spider-Man game that came out like 10
Yeah.
years ago was fucking great.
Was sweet.
Spider-Man 2 is one of the best fucking games of all time.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple, like the Amazing Spider-Man one that came out a couple years ago. It was okay. I played through it, and it's like when I get to the Deadpool level, I'm kind of like, okay, interesting. But if they get the controls down, that looks fucking dope.
Yeah.
Getting to run through a building and jump through the window like
going
that.
in and out of the building. Because that's the thing with the Spider-Man
Oh,
games is
wow.
that either like you're inside and you're just kind of like have to fight because there's not a lot of great like maneuverability in them.
Oh, it's Yuri. Oh,
You're-
cool. It's Yuri.
You're alone with
Okay.
also great Spider-Man, awesome. And that, or web swinging, like it's usually either really good outside or really good inside. They usually fail to do both, and that's probably the trick. And it looks like they care about that, but we got to talk about that suit.
You guys had words about the suit.
I do.
You have issues.
I
What's
don't
your
like
problem with it?
It looks like a.
You said Adidas made.
It does look kind of like a tracksuit. You can see
Yeah.
that, right? Like with
Yeah.
the sporty shoes and the way the logo kind of stands up and the white piping right here. To me, it looks like maybe an Adidas tracksuit. Maybe he picked it up at his local Big Five. I don't know if those still exist, but I don't know. It doesn't look sleek and spandexy enough for me.
Yeah, I think that's what it. Like to me, I hate being bothered by these things. I usually don't care what things look like because it's Spider-Man, whatever. And these things change all the time. But there are certain just like really classic motifs, right? And I think the black spider is one of them. Like the fact that there's that much white on it, it's for better or for worse, it's what I'm focusing on when I look at that suit, and that's the problem for me. Is that like I can't? My first thought when I saw that suit was that's a weird suit, and I should have been like, oh man, this is Spider-Man. Like I had to have a moment where I was like, what?
See, I didn't. The second he landed on the building, I was like, "That's motherfucking Spider-Man." I don't care what. I've seen Spider-Man wear almost 100 different suits since I've been reading Spider-Man.
Have you
since I was
seen the
10.
white spider before?
I have not seen the White Spider before, but
seen
you know what I've
red.
seen? Those shoulder pads on the ends of the Earth Spider-Man costume.
Cool.
I've seen the shape of that Spider-Man before on the Iron Man suit that Spider-Man built for him.
And yeah, that's the thing. It was definitely like the Iron Spider on his chest.
like I've seen so many iterations of the Spider-Man costume in the years that I've been reading Spider-Man that if he talks like Spider-Man, if he moves like Spider-Man, and he does Spider-Man things, I'm on board. Plus, I know as a video game, I'm going to be able to have probably 50 suits in that fucking game.
That's
because
true.
any good game that's got Spider-Man in it is going to be like, okay, you've got the Fantastic Four pajamas with the bag over his head. You've got The old school sweatshirt and sweatpants look with the
I want
ski
Ben Reilly
mask.
with the denim. That's what I want.
You're gonna have the amazing Spider-Man suit from the '60s. You're gonna have them all. You're gonna have the black suit. So I don't really give a shit. I want the game to be good. Now, my original thought the second I saw that trailer was because, and this is purely speculation. I am not an expert in anything. When I saw the eyes do what they did in Civil War, my first thought was, ooh, this could be one of those instances where, just like with toys sometimes, it's accidentally showing us what the suit's going to look like in the movie.
I had that thought
it's
too.
like the Iron Spider suit that was developed in the comics, and we now see that Tony Stark's design is a part of this suit, something that clearly was made by Tony Stark. If this is trying to rewrite the continuity of the game world to follow the movie that's coming out around the same time as this game, this could be a Tony Stark designed suit.
It could be. And I think also, just from Sony's perspective, that's really solid vertical integration, right? You've got your video game you're making, you've got this big movie you're making, and if they have the same suit and nothing else, if it's just Spider-Man in the suit and no similar plot lines, still help sell each other.
Yeah.
You know? So I think whether or not we get that suit, I also, like, that doesn't even have a name. It was like SpiderManPS4.com. Like,
I think they're calling the game Spider-Man.
They might, but
Trying to reboot it.
it's
so.
early enough that maybe that was even like, I don't want to say test footage, but it's possible that's not even the finished costume for the game.
Possible. There was a lot of shots with it in there.
Yeah, there was.
And we all know how these things work with comic books. By making a bold choice, more people are going to be talking about
yeah,
it.
here we are talking about the suit. We wouldn't if we all loved the suit and it was just standard.
I feel like
we would have
that's
been like,
something
good suit, moved on.
You definitely talk about now when you're making these kinds of things and you know that there's this audience behind. It's like, okay, do we do something that's exactly what the audience wants, or do we do something that's new and different that we know is going to get everyone talking
Yeah,
about
and
it?
do you piss off 2% of the people so that 30% of the people who wouldn't have heard about this thing hear about it?
Yeah.
You know.
And like you said, even if
Hail
the
Hydra.
game and the
Hail
movie
Hydra.
have not a lot in common, to the uninitiated, they're not really going to know that, right? Going into it. Very few people, talking to people who aren't as immersed in gaming culture as a lot of us people are, they don't really do their market research the way we do. They kind of look at a trailer or look at a cover and kind of base it off of that, maybe an IGN review. Whereas we're sitting here analyzing it, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So I think that it is going to help them sell more copies because
Also,
we're going to think of it as a tie-in.
a lot of people don't necessarily know the world of comic books as well as we do, where there's like a bunch of different universes, but there's also a main universe that we all draw from, and how everything is an adaptation, but it's also not, and like it's easy for us to be like, oh, movie, video game, they're similar, but they're not. Like how Ultimate Alliance 2 was basically a Civil War game, but it's also not a Civil War game because they went more places than Civil War went. It might be something like that, but it seems like you mentioned, I don't know the name of the villain.
Mr. Negative.
Yeah,
He is
the villains that we saw were all the same across the board, and that's
for a
awesome.
while now, Mr. Negative's been competing against the Black Cat for control of the Bronx and New York and stuff like that. So Mr. Negative as a villain in a game is pretty cool because he can mind control people. He's like his outward-facing personality is he owns a couple homeless shelters and he works a lot with the community, and actually Aunt May works for him at a homeless shelter.
Cool.
And so he's very closely tied to Peter. So it was interesting to see that the demons from Mr. Negative are in the game, because that's a pretty undersold villain to be a part of this game, which makes me think they're going to follow the comic books pretty interestingly.
Yeah.
But the suit itself and everything else felt very like in tie with a movie universe. Even the look of it felt very Marvel cinematic. Like,
And I'm okay with that in every area except for one, and that's if they do decide to go with the movie plot, that's always where these games fall apart. Where if you have a plot that's designed for an hour and a half, video games are supposed to be way longer than that, and so then they become way too stretched out, like all the Tobey Maguire games ended up being. Where like Spider-Man 2 was one of the best games, fantastic, but it's still plot-wise, the movie plot that we had to follow was way too long. If we didn't, give it.
Say like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Don't follow the movies.
Yeah, the Arkham games are just their whole own story. They fucking killed the Joker and rewrote Red Hood, so they don't give a fuck about those games.
Honestly, I think a lot of people ask me how I feel about that, and I love it.
yeah, I do too.
I think that when you create a universe around a video game and still keep the characters in place, you can do a lot with it.
I feel the same way about movies too. It's like if you're gonna make a movie, as long as you're true to the character and the character's actions, who gives a shit what happens in the story?
Yeah, it's about
Preacher.
theme. Yeah, but yeah, it's to me it's about theme. Like if I still get the things I love love out of these characters, then I'm fine. I don't mind that it didn't happen the same way, you know?
They changed a lot of fundamental things about Preacher, but I think they did such a good job hitting the nail on the head with each and every character. They like captured the soul of like Tulip.
Oh yeah,
and
Cassidy is like.
Oh yeah,
Cassidy.
Yeah, yeah, and Tulip, like, oh my God, wife, please.
And that's what people do when they write new comics. They're like, here are all these characters. I need to make sure I get the characterization down. But of course, I'm not going to rewrite that arc that somebody just did.
Right.
And so, I wouldn't expect writers of film or television to do differently. There is a degree to which you do need to introduce your audience to certain main themes, like everybody's mad that we saw the Wayne murders in BVS. Well, we need a visual reference point. We need something to go back to so we can reference the death of the Waynes, because you need to talk about that when you're writing Batman. But
do you though? It's cultural. It's kind of like we all want a Spider-Man story where they don't recap that he got bit by a
that's what I mean.
fucking
They don't need
spider.
to recap it, but it's Batman has a PTSD trigger, and it's pearls falling or somebody mentioning his parents. Like,
Arthur.
In a comic, it's okay to just flash back to it for him to be like, oh shit, and think about his parents. In a movie, though, you can't do that in Act 3 all of a sudden. You need to reference something from Act 1 if you're going to have that moment. And so now they've done that in the beginning of the movie where they introduced Batman, and they never have to do it ever again. Like Spider-Man, they could do the same thing. We have to have an Uncle Ben to see, but we don't need to watch Uncle Ben die. In a weird way. Like it's a crucial part of the mythos.
I don't know. Like I feel like, depending on what route they go, the relationship with Aunt May can signify all of that without actually having to show it or even flash back to it. That's
true.
almost more important to what defines him, and it's something that I think a lot of people miss.
That's true, but if you have a moment where at the end of the movie or at the end of whatever, Spider-Man stops and by himself thinks back to his Uncle Ben's death, you either have to put in a voiceover or you can go back to that moment. And in a movie, you go back to the moment because it's a visual medium.
You say that. I think part of what made Spider-Man work so well in Civil War is when they brought it up. It's like, if I don't do what I can to like help people, good people get hurt.
But it wasn't
And
a Spider-Man movie. You can get away with that.
No, it wasn't, but it referenced the moment in a way that everyone watching is like, oh, he's a part of the cultural understanding
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Everybody knew what the fuck he was talking about, and you were like, yeah, dude, this is Spider-Man. And he felt no less like
But it's not
Spider-Man.
about informing people. It's about informing the moment. It's about, if you're introducing Spider-Man and you don't like, if you expect writers not to touch on the whole Uncle Ben dying thing, you're expecting writers not to be writers. Like, everybody who's ever done Spider-Man has done that. And that, to me, is what it
Thank
is.
you for following. Thank you so much for the follow. You know, I'm going to take this moment to remind everybody that's watching, that might be new, that might be lurking in the chat room. Go ahead and wave hello at us and let us know that you are here watching Hyper RPG right now. If you are new and you're checking out this channel, we are an interactive, hyperactive, special community-driven platform where we do all sorts of fun stuff all week long to get you guys in on the action and be a part of the show. So please have a conversation with us in the chat room, argue with us, tell us that we're wrong about all of this stuff. We'll ignore you and keep arguing amongst ourselves. No, I mean, we're interactive. We'll respond, I promise you. So anyway, back to the conversation.
Sometimes our interactivity depends on how into the conversation we are. And sometimes we get a little into it. But anyway, Spider-Man's exciting. It's basically
Spider-Man's
what we can all boil
PTSD
down
trigger
to.
is a bowl of rice. Rest in peace, Uncle Ben. Good joke. Good joke. Uncle Ben's rice. Yeah, that's great. You got jokes, Genova. Jokes.
I really wish that if we were going to redo or like touch on origin stories over and over again, if we maybe brought in some newer superheroes like Miles Morales. Who's
Donald Glover was just mentioned to be part of the cast. Now, he is
Super
way too
duper
fucking
old
old.
Miles.
Now, like back when he first started off on 30 Rock, holy shit.
He would have been perfect.
He would have been perfect as Miles. Dude's too old. Now, it'd be really funny if the movie just came out and was like, you know what, fuck it. In this universe, Miles Morales is the old Spider-Man.
Yeah, they just switch it.
Switch him. Boy, would that not be a like kick to the junk. But
You know, there's actually a statute in the contract between Marvel and Sony that if Sony makes a Spider-Man movie, it has to be a white male named Peter Parker.
yeah, I saw that.
That's
I
legally
just-
part of the contract.
if they try to do something else, Marvel could get the rights back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sony can't do it because then they give up the rights, and Marvel can't do it because they don't have the rights. So that sucks. But yes, Don Glover is going to be in, or is reported to be, I don't know if it's fully confirmed because I see conflicting things. He might be in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I want him to be Mysterio.
Really?
I wanted to be Mysterio so badly. And it might be because I love Community so much that I want him to be a comedian as much as possible. And I think that Mysterio is a great way for him to be a comedic villain.
oversell it, yeah.
Yeah, like it'd be so good. But who knows? Who knows? He'll probably just be like a guy who's like gives some wise words to Spider-Man in like 2 scenes.
Probably. He'll show up in a...
If you're not a hero or a
And
villain, you're
then
usually
Sony will
that.
be like, remember that whole internet thing where everybody said, make him Spider-Man? We gave you half of that.
Yeah.
Please, internet, like us.
Maybe they'll have one moment where Tom Holland saves Don Glover and he's like in his Spider-Man pajamas, and that'll be it. Just, hey, look, there was some black
A little bit
Spider-Man.
of fan service.
That's all you get.
All right. Well, that being said, I think we're just going to skip the rest of the news because it's not really that big of
Yeah,
news.
there's nothing. Batman Day is coming back in the fall. Woohoo!
Yeah, so let's get right into the comic books that came out this
Yes.
week because that's, we're
right.
going to ramble a lot, and then we still
Joe?
have to have our spoiler thing at the end.
Joe, give us our theme song.
There's a theme song, and we're going to wait awkwardly
have a
until he
theme
finds
song.
it on the desktop. Waiting on you, Joe. Just nice and awkward.
Comic book
There
day,
we
comic book day. We're gonna open some books on comic book day. Zach's on my left, you're on my right. Comic book day.
Yep, that's it.
That's our comic book
That's
song.
our lame, lazy attempt at a theme song, which is clip something from a live show that just happened to have a follower in the middle of it. So we had a little sound cue that got thrown in there with it, and we took that sound bite and called that our theme song. That's how lazy we are here sometimes. I shouldn't say lazy. That's how
works.
overworked we are to the point that when we say we need a theme song, just clip that bit and just move on.
Take
just
it.
move the fuck on. We got stuff to
Day,
do.
comic book day. We're gonna open some
Yep.
books on comic book day. Zach's on my
Joe
left.
doesn't like that we're
you're
talking
on
shit
my
about the
right.
song.
Comic book
He's
day.
proud of it.
All right, guys. We once again would like to remind you that Alter Ego Comics is our kind of sponsor for this show, in that they give us the books early, let us read them, and they are located in Crossroads Bellevue Mall. And they also have this really cool website called sublist.alteregocollectibles.com that allows you to see what the most bought books in their store are, and it's really interesting.
It's cool.
You're gonna think this is interesting because it is not on track with the rest of the country.
Really?
My Little Pony is the number 4th most sold book in their store. Like,
I'm not at all surprised.
Every month it's top 5.
I
every
used
month.
to run a board game and video game store, and My Little Pony, everything. Like the card games sold more than Magic, and it blew my mind. Yeah, like some of those cards, I opened packs and sold them on eBay. I totally wasn't scalping small children for large amounts of money.
oh, okay. Well, My Little Pony is once again in the top 5.
I'm a nice person.
And of course, the number 1 slot will
Is
always be a Star Wars book at this store.
They're so good though.
But it's written by
They are.
Jason Aaron, who is like the fucking hottest writer working at Marvel right now. And if you aren't reading his books, just do it. I know I say that every week. Just do it. And just go buy some stuff. And it's Dre Live. You got timed out because what we like to do here, and we could warn him first. We don't just have to time him out. We could warn him first. We are a highly respectful channel here, and we like to welcome all of our guests in a respectful way. So stick around and watch. We just ask that our guests not talk like that in our chat room. We were here to talk about comic books. So Star Wars number 20. Written by Jason Aaron, another dive into the journal of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we've been following his journal for a little bit now in the storyline. Have you been keeping up with the Star Wars
yes,
books?
I've been watching. I've been reading all of them.
Yeah. What do you think?
My favorite was Lando.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my God, have you read it?
I read the first issue. It was very Charles Soule, but it was very smooth. And I found
Good.
when all the Star Wars books started, I was like reading all of them, and then I just found like there's just too many comics, and I couldn't.
Guys,
but it is
new
good.
subscriber, Necro
Friend computer
Experience.
welcomes
Oh.
a new thumper.
Thank you for
For
subscribing.
I know him.
Thank
That
you,
one of your
Necro
community
Experience.
members?
Yes. Hi there, girl.
Welcome.
Welcome to the
Necro.
Jimbo. Your role on the Yojimbo will be cleaning up after Emily and Ryan play horror games.
Yes, so you are the official vomit cleaner upper. Tay Phil, thank you for following. Thank you so much. Now, guys, quick reminder, every 5 subscribers, we give away a Steam key, and we are well on our way to getting 1,000 subscribers. And at 1,000 subscribers, we do a really special, giant, massive subscriber-only giveaway that includes Valiant comic books, that includes Shadowrun stuff, Battletech stuff, all of our big RPG shows. We throw all that stuff into a pack, and we ship it to somebody, no matter where they are in the world, as long as they're a subscriber for that giveaway. Plus, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, I am forced to ride a electronic tandem bicycle.
It's electronic
With-
now?
Yeah, Rad Power Bike said that they would kind of like sponsor that. Lazy Ryko.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you for following. That's one of yours too, right?
Yep.
Because they recognize you when you came on earlier. Thank you for that. Ryko. I'm going to call you Ryko. But Rico. Thank you.
Dad,
Lazy
I wanted
Rico.
to help you.
Rico.
Rico. So yeah, I have to ride a tandem bicycle and we have to film it. It's going to be
Adorable.
no. Ungoliant. Thank you. And that is Joe running a test. So I don't really want to ride a tandem bicycle with Claudia, and that is why she did this and announced it and said
Which
that's
one
what
of you gets to... Who's in front?
I am not letting her control. I am not letting her control. We will immediately run into a damn
Have you
tree.
told her that?
I've been told how she drives. I've been told.
I
and
haven't.
I can just
How
imagine.
does she drive?
I've heard that it's terrible.
I can't be that surprised.
I mean,
I've seen her play videos.
Claudia is great, but this is Claudia. She is a Muppet. She is basically a Muppet.
That's true.
She is a Muppet. I don't want her driving, but we will be recording that, and that'll be one of our big 1K sub goal. And we get 5 more emote spots. We are out of emote spots, and we have a bunch of new shows now. We want to get those new emotes out, and we'll let you guys vote on your favorites and what we should do when we get to that spot. So we are getting very close. We're like 45 away.
Yeah, we're super close. And by the way, you guys want a Petunia emote.
Yes.
I don't care what else we get. I want at least one of them to be Petunia.
So we'll have a Kaiju and Petunia emote.
Oh, yeah.
2 dogs.
Petunia is a dog on the Valiant Vanquished show.
Oh.
This has. And also got kidnapped.
Actually, somebody said that the emote for the Valiant Vanquish show should be an Amex card. Which makes no sense to the rest of the internet.
No, yeah, that's...
It's not accepted
In 2
anywhere.
weeks, we'll probably have other jokes that'll
Other jokes
run
will
longer,
come up.
but
yeah, other
that was
jokes will
solid
come up.
one.
But we'll let you guys vote on it. But anyway, if you guys are so inclined to subscribe, by being a subscriber to this channel, you get access to our Discord, you get access to our VODs, and we do special gaming-only nights with the community for subscribers, and it's a lot of fun.
As well as the ability
And
to
it helps-
participate in corporate sins.
That's true.
Which is awesome.
That's true. It also helps keep us alive and running as a channel because we are a community-driven kind of platform. It may look like we have a really large budget to do this, but we really don't. It is funded by the community. That is how this channel operates, by you guys. So we add new programs as the channel grows. We keep trying to go bigger and bigger and bigger in a very poor business plan where I say, let's do more before the money comes in.
Zach is really ambitious, so we need your help
Yes.
keeping up with him.
Yeah, I need your help yeah.
But the result is we get really cool things like the Valiant Vanquished show.
Yes, and
which
we
is
have the
really
Paizo show starting in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
What? I do.
You should be a guest on our show. We are mixing American Gladiator and Pathfinder.
What?
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a medieval gauntlet, basically, where it's going to basically be like a Renaissance fair. Rathicus, thank you so much for following. It's going to be like a Renaissance fair event in a way. We're going to ask everyone to dress up. We will have rotating teams of 4 competing to see who can collect the most skulls in a roguelike dungeon using Pathfinder pre-built characters at level 6. And it's going to be like American Gladiator where we have NPCs that are regulars. And you know, when you turn a corner and there's Blaze with a Vorpal sword, you're like, shit, do I go after Blaze or do I go 2 rooms back and kill some chumps to collect more points? It's kind of like a roguelike video game, but using the Pathfinder system with Paizo. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's starting the first week of July. Which reminds me, I have another announcement. CEO brain, there's all these announcements. Sorry, guys, but I got to keep you informed somehow. It just happens
There's
to be
also
on.
so much going on this summer. It's super exciting.
Yes, so originally we said that our big Necropolis event was going to be on June 25th. We just had a phone call today, and it is being pushed back to July 9th. Now, that has nothing to do with the release of Necropolis. Necropolis is actually releasing on July 12th, and we thought it would be better to focus our energy on doing the event the weekend before the game releases, just to have a kind of a snowball effect towards the release of the game. So we're going to be doing a massive Necropolis 12-hour stream with teams of 4 coming in to compete to see how far they can get within the game within a 2-hour time period, doing the new co-op mode. And that game comes out on the 12th, so we're doing our event on the 9th. So spread the word. We don't want people to think that we're still doing that event on the 25th. But no press had come out about it yet. Part of the reason we're moving it back is so it's not so tied in with E3, which allows us more time to get proper press out. So, yep.
Smart move.
Yeah. Back to comic
Talk
books.
about comics.
Han Solo.
Solo, more Star Wars, of course.
Yes.
By
I love
Marjorie
this
Liu.
book.
You want to
Yeah.
talk about it?
Yes. What I really liked about this book in particular is it actually sort of explores his struggle, like the character's struggle between kind of being a self-serving thrill seeker and serving, I guess, a higher purpose. And so he's torn throughout the entire thing. And it's kind of interesting reading this and then knowing that this takes place before, the movie Force Awakens. So seeing like why he maybe does the things he does in that movie and why his end is therefore that much more tragic. This kind of leads into it, and it also kind of like explores his tumultuous relationship with Leia too.
So it's between Jedi and Force Awakens then?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Because
Yeah.
most of the tie-in books have all been between New Hope and Empire, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this
I
one-
think-
Well, except
no,
the
C-3PO wasn't.
there was also
Yeah, there was the
the
3PO and
Shattered
Shattered Empire,
yeah,
which
yeah,
both
yeah,
of those
yeah.
both of those were the Road to the Force Awakens books that
Right.
were supposed to come out before the movie. C-3PO like came out yesterday, but you know,
Yeah.
these things happen. But so this one also then between franchises. Cool.
And it's kind of like they have scenes with like him sitting in the cantina and other people kind of giving him shit like, oh, you're so afraid, like you turned down so many contracts, because he's almost afraid of risk.
Yeah.
And he's fallen into this life that's almost like complacency a little bit.
So he won't shoot first anymore? Is that the problem?
No, he won't. At least not this iteration. So I actually really like it because it tells you more about him as a person.
I like that we're finally getting a strong female writer writing a strong male character instead of the flip side that always happens. I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how that voice works. It's probably no different. Like now people realize, like,
Yeah.
just do that.
Marjorie Liu's just a writer, not a female writer.
Exactly.
She's very talented.
Deadpool number 14, once again, really high on the list. This shop, especially, like, ever since the movie, Deadpool's been
Really?
at the top,
Popular.
despite the book losing its quality ever since the movie came out, which is unfortunate, but, you know, then we've got My Little Pony. But Batman number one,
Batman
I'm
number
guessing
one.
you checked. Did both of you check this out? Or?
I did, yeah.
Okay, I'll let you guys talk about it.
What'd you think?
I loved it. I love Tom King, and I also like David Finch, which is a little bit less of a. I mean, I don't understand why people get so pissy about David Finch. I think he's super great as an artist. But yeah, so this is the beginning of the new Batman run, hot off the heels of the Batman Rebirth special, and it's very introductory. We get your basic like one-shot Batman has to save some people mission, and then at the end it's like, oh, here's this thing that is different that sets up the story. So it's like it's a good solid story on its own while at the same time setting up another one. And it's got the most classic way to start a superhero story is you have them save a falling airplane. Right? It's the first thing Superman did. And so I've seen the Flash do it, I've seen Batman do it, I've seen every superhero do it. I never get tired of it, as long as it's done well, and it is done very dramatically in this one.
Yeah, for sure. I liked it, but I definitely liked the Detective Comics one a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Which I usually like. This is one of my new most favorite writers ever, Tom King. He's so great.
I'm kind of pissed that this book even exists because it's taking my vision away from me.
Yeah, no more Vision. We get Batman instead.
Bullshit.
But I kind of agree that Detective Comics that Rebirth issue though was just fucking spectacular.
Right?
It was so
Yeah.
good.
I loved it. That was last week, but
Yeah.
it was insane. So I think coming off the heels of that onto this, I was like,
Yeah.
it was good. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't Detective Comics good.
Yeah, and this is the Batman book. Detective Comics is like the team book with like Batwoman and Tim and Steph and Cass and Clayface for some reason.
Clayface, that was crazy.
I was in the beginning. I was like, I'm not on board for Clayface. And they had that scene with him in the theater, and I was like, oh, Clayface.
I know you feel
We can
sad.
save you.
It's like there's just like a moment where you're like, oh, I hated you up until now, but now I feel bad.
So yeah, it's good. We've got the new heroes, Gotham and Gotham Girl, are their names of those guys. on the
Gotham
cover.
and Gotham Girl.
Yeah, they're there. It's the name of the characters.
With the bougie
Yeah.
font.
Gee.
Looks like something that'd be on like a gate.
Yeah. A little more Duke Thomas in this one, and he's just around.
All right, and then coming up next, we've got Low number 14. I got a chance to check this out right before the show. I am still a huge fan of Low, and I can't really tell you what happens that makes this issue so great because it involves betrayal, and I can't spoil that betrayal for you. But, you know, the mother of the group, she is now on the surface, which is something that for a long time was thought to be unreachable. And it's a really great story. If you like sci-fi and post-apocalyptic stuff, it's Rick Remender's like bread and butter. He does it so well. We were just talking beforehand, like Remender's got a couple other books out. Like I saw Devolution was on the shelf today, and I didn't even know that Remender had this book out. And he's got another new book coming out next month. And always with the best fucking artists in the industry. Greg Tocchini is amazing. His visuals in this book are so good. He's not the best at drawing action scenes, but the setting of landscapes and just this world building that he does is just it's so beautiful. Okay, all right. Somebody ask any Jimmy Johns today. I'm hungry.
Wait.
All right.
That name is Alara's Arm. I
Alara's
appreciate
Arm.
that.
Here's the thing. I ordered Jimmy John's at 12:30. My stomach is eating itself right now. I haven't eaten anything since yesterday at about a long time ago. So I'm extremely hungry, and I ordered, and then I got a text message right when the show was starting saying, we are unable to complete your order because that store is unreachable and or closed. Sorry. So no, we have no Jimmy John's. I wasn't able to write me eating into the show. That's how I eat around here.
And now, which means he doesn't get to eat.
We also had Spider-Gwen number 9. I didn't get a chance to check this one out. Did you guys get a chance?
Spider-Gwen.
I'm not following it.
Okay. I really like it. I like all the Spider books besides Spider-Man. But the next one on the list, guys, get your spoilers.
Let's do it.
Here, Joe, can you put spoilers on the screen really quick? Because we gotta talk about it.
Number 2.
We're gonna spoil Civil War 2, guys. Earmuffs. If you don't want spoilers, earmuffs.
Let us know when we got our spoiler. I don't even know if we need to open this, but just in case. I forget the books we talk about too often.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna flip through just to remind myself. So Civil War 2 continued kind of where it left off.
A little bit. Very, very quickly.
Got dark pretty quickly right out of the gate
Yeah.
there with the freaking abduction.
So yeah, it opens up with, do we have the spoiler warning on? I just want to make sure it's up there.
Hey, Rathicus!
Welcome to the
Your
Yojimbo.
computer welcomes a new thumper for science.
Hi, Raz.
Thank you, Rathicus, for subscribing to Hyper RPG. You are now one of the official deckhands. You're going to join Joe in the control booth, helping Joe out with running the ship. That's a very, very prestige position on the ship. Welcome. Thank you for being a part of the Yojimbo. You keep this ship running. Let's get into the book.
All right. I'm going to hope that we have the spoiler tag up.
Fuck it. Just talk.
If not, it's all up in the chat. Okay.
Just fuck it.
So it opens up with a fucking act of war.
Yes.
Tony off the deep end.
So Tony Stark
Without alcohol.
goes to New Adelan, which is a sovereign nation of the Inhumans. He fucking kidnaps Ulysses, the fortune-telling kid.
Yeah.
Which, like, I want to be on Team Tony, but the Inhumans are my favorite part of the Marvel Universe, so I'm always going to be on Team Adelan, and that was an act of war, and I'm not down with you taking one of my citizens out of my country. So that's how it starts.
How did you feel about the moment with Karnak? Because
Where Karnak was like...
I thought that could have been handled better.
Yeah, where Brian Michael Bendis was like, oh, I'll just write this character however I want to not pay attention to what's been going on ever. Yeah. I also agree that could have gone a little better.
Basically, it was a situation where Tony was like, I've been thinking about you, Karnak, and you think that he's found a counter kind of to Karnak's ability to find the weakness in things. Like a smart thing to write in that situation, I thought would have been a way to have Tony counter a weakness as a positive, kind of like allowing a weakness to exist that allows it to be exploited,
but
which
instead
then
he's
works
like,
against him.
my Iron Man suit just has no weaknesses. And I'm like, what? No.
I'm pretty sure Medusa just put her hair inside your suit 2 panels ago, and now you're proclaiming I have no weaknesses.
Medusa's better at finding the weakness in your suit than Karnak?
Yeah.
That kind of pissed me off. I thought that was a little sloppy and a little rushed.
Megalo Blazemon, if you want to get into the Inhumans, Volume 1 of Inhuman is, if you like Charles Soule, it's fun, but it's kind of its own thing. The 1998 Marvel Knights Inhumans 12-issue series by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee is timeless and the best Inhumans book that has ever been written. I cannot recommend it enough. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Inhumans by Paul Jenkins. So anyway, Beast, I know Beast is on New Adelan. He's doing science and kind of the X-Men science advisor. But in the book, it's like, I'm one of the Inhumans.
Yeah. Except, well, yes and no. He did say, I don't fight Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a strong
And then at the end,
stance
he fought Tony Stark.
Well, no.
He
flew
didn't.
in. He found him. They never showed him actually
have to
fighting.
remember which team he came in with, too. He didn't come in with the Inhumans.
He did come in with the Ultimates.
He came in with the Ultimates. So right there, it's kind of him. He was helping Tony.
Which makes you think Hank's going to be a bigger player in this whole thing.
Which I'm happy about. I love him.
About damn time. I've been reading Inhumans, and in the first issue, they were like, he's going to figure a bunch of shit out. And so far, apparently, he's gotten 0 done.
Yeah.
He's done absolutely nothing because they've been dealing with this Terrigenesis cloud and haven't like been able to move it forward because they're waiting for an event to do that.
The reason that I'm still a little bit on Tony's side is the questions he asked him while torturing.
Yeah, that's what happens next. Is he?
Well, but I liked that moment, and I thought, again, this is where Bendis does stuff well. One-on-one interaction, not the big team stuff. Like the one-on-one moments, I think he does really well. And I liked the questions Tony was asking. He's like, ooh, this is all interesting stuff. And this is the Tony we want to see, is this like him really thinking ahead of everyone else and really asking those difficult questions.
And just like the first issue, we are back to when it's just faces talking to each other. That's where this book really shines.
Yeah, because the art
looks
emotes
great,
so
written well here.
Like seriously, this
I like
artist,
the black creepy suit.
Yeah, it's
Marquez
beautiful.
can do subtle emotions better than just about anyone that's drawing faces. Like you can kind of tell what this story is without even reading the text.
No,
which
I
is
agree
the
completely.
best
It's
type.
gorgeous.
It's like cover art level stuff in each panel.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just beautiful.
pretty.
It's people talking, and it's like this is the page that we're showing. It's just people talking.
So that was
Tony
pretty
Stark
good.
tortures a kid, and
A little bit.
I don't.
He
okay.
threatens him.
He threatens him a little bit.
him.
But even then, he doesn't threaten him for the sake of threatening him. He's trying to see what kind of emotional response he can get.
I like that he asked, like, you have subconscious biases, whether you realize it or not. I want to know where you're from, how you were raised, how all this works, and do those subconscious biases affect how you predict the future will happen? Based on what do you see, and based on how you see it, is that based on how you view the world as a person?
I'm really excited to see what the answer to that question is, because Ulysses doesn't know.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
no idea, and I think we're going to get an answer. I hope so. 'Cause
Well, we already saw that there
Bendis
was
is
like,
better at foreshadowing than Miller was in the first Civil War.
and we saw that there was like extra brainwave activity from like inflicting pain or like fear and all of that. And that was
Real
one
quick.
thing that. Oh yeah.
Sorry, 777 or 11 before it goes away and I forget. Black Bolt's full name is Blackagar Boltagon. Anyway, go on. So yeah, we see his vision sort of come out of stress.
Well, we don't know for sure that they come out of stress, but he's tracking his sort of brain activity, and he's noticing that when he inflicts any kind of pain, and he flicks him in the face, he doesn't
And then he
torture
threatens,
him.
and fear works as well. Fear initiates a reaction, which
and so he's just
I think
testing
will come
this
back.
because that was one thing. Like I've been Team Tony forever, but in the first comic in Civil War one thing that really bothered me is that everybody just takes this kid's word for it.
Yeah.
You don't know, like,
but they change that at the end of this one.
exactly, because they start, like, Tony starts to realize, like, oh, you can almost kind of induce these visions, you know? So what happens when this kid is stressed or racist? I like how he talks about that. Like, you know, if you're biased against someone, can you convince yourself to have a really emotional sort of vision that then justifies that person's evilness? I mean, when you look at psychology, that's a real thing. You know, people build up these monsters in their minds, and
Speaking of monsters in their minds, that reveal.
Yeah, at the end, and Steve, because you mentioned, so like he doesn't have a vision, and when the Ultimates break in and everybody's sort of yelling at each other as superheroes tend to do, he has another vision, and big ol' spoiler, it's the Hulk, and he's naked, and his balls are kind of in your face, and everybody's dead around him.
Which I think is a complete fucking cop-out.
Oh yeah, I mean,
In the Marvel Universe, oh look, here's the future, the Hulk's gonna kill you all.
Well,
no shit.
I think
Really?
I think
We haven't
this
been
isn't-
down this road.
This isn't the big thing. First of all, Tony and Carol are like both dead. We got Thor dead, we got Cap dead, and we got Hawkeye dead all in that picture. Those 5 aren't all going to die in this issue, in this comic. And
of course not. Of
I
course
think
not.
that this will be, now we've had a future that we tried to prevent and it failed. We had a future that we tried to prevent and it worked. And now we really have a future that we can talk about trying to prevent, and it can be forced around what do we do around Banner. And Minker, you asked which Hulk it is.
But it
seems like
that's
it's
the
Bruce
thing.
Banner.
It shouldn't be though.
And
that's I think they're trying to pull a one up on people who aren't reading the current storylines by having that thing at the end where Carol's like Banner, you know, basically because she's gonna know that Amadeus
she might be
Cho-
saying, hey, Amadeus Cho is going to go crazy.
right.
I'm
You're the
thinking this
expert
might
on the
be-
Hulk. How do we stop the Hulk?
I'm
That's
thinking
what I
this
think
might
they're
be a
gonna do.
whole Bruce Banner's going to come back as the Hulk thing. That might be what it's leading towards because it's a giant event comic and Bruce Banner's not the Hulk. And, you know, we saw how long
That's
Steve
what I was
Rogers
thinking,
wasn't
too.
Captain America.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and the Amadeus Cho Hulk isn't selling as well as they probably wanted it to.
No. I know. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna. I know. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring back Banner as the Hulk. And to quote Kung Fu Panda, a lot of the times, we meet our destiny on the road to preventing it. And I feel like this comic really reinforced that with me. That just by him saying the Hulk's going to kill everybody, he's already set the wheels into motion. They're already reaching out to Bruce Banner. They might actually unwittingly be bringing about their own fate.
That's true. They could be, maybe they go the route of saying, okay, Amadeus Cho is the Hulk currently, and in our vision, he kills everybody. You're the expert on the Hulk. Mm-hmm. We need you to help us stop it. And then it inadvertently makes Bruce Banner the Hulk, which is a more dangerous Hulk than Amadeus Cho is.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Telling you, Kung Fu Panda wisdom.
Yeah, solid Kung Fu Panda quote.
I don't know. I really like number one. I really like number one. I especially like the ending of book one. And book two is almost always going to be filler, but it moved very briskly, just like the first one did, but sold less me understanding everyone's motivations.
Yeah. Although I feel like now, and I like this because at the very least, like the first Civil War, the whole time, I never felt like the book was the story. I felt like the book was just the big plot points, but the story just was kind of the beginning and the end where there wasn't much. It was just a fight. And at this one, I very much feel like I'm in a story. And I feel like with big event comics, you need to give the people who are just buying the main title an actual beginning, middle, and end. And the first one just gave us a beginning and an end. Or it just gave us a middle, depending on how you want to look at it. And this one, at least, I feel like I'm actually getting its own arc.
And I think my biggest issue, and this could be one of the problems with Marvel Comics in general, they've done so many event comics. They've done so many big things in their current lineup, and we're supposed to believe that this is a world where the continuity is not being rewritten. The advantage of a universe like DC, where the continuity can be rewritten, is there's real stakes when these event comics happen.
Right, yeah.
In the Marvel universe, I'm supposed to believe that this is all new shit to them. We've had people who can predict the future before. We've had these arguments in the Marvel Universe before. We've had everyone think the Hulk's going to go on a rampage. We've had Celestials come down and threaten to destroy the Earth. These are all things that happen all the fucking time in these books.
Ooh, Thanos is trying to grab the power cosmic. What are we going to do?
Whoop-de-fucking-do.
How about we all team together and punch him?
And
that works.
It doesn't make it feel original, and it's just like, I can't believe that this Ulysses guy is the first time that you all, as a group of heroes, have asked these questions, because we've seen people predict the future in this Marvel Universe constantly. And that's like going back to like me like selling praise for the Valiant books. When they do big events, it's always new.
Yeah.
It's a new idea that actually has real stakes in that world. We've seen this so much in the Marvel Universe. I'm like, okay, I don't buy that everyone's really fighting over this dude. I just don't buy it. We've had these discussions before. We've had these, how do we prevent things from happening? What stakes are involved? All that stuff with even Tony himself. So it just,
and like him saying like, I think I'm gearing up for a war. I feel like the fact that this is going to erupt into a civil war should be something only we know about the Civil War, because we know the title of the book. Like at this point, it feels like there's this element that they're arguing over. Like Tony shouldn't be able to tell that this is going to, divide them all in half yet. It's a little too soon to be preparing for that, I think. I think that should be a surprise when it happens to them.
yeah. I don't know, what do you think?
See, that's one thing I'm going to have to respectfully disagree on. Because I think that in the state Tony's in, you have to remember his best friend just died. He doesn't feel like anybody else is willing to take the drastic measures to do the research, because Tony doesn't necessarily think that this kid is evil or it's a bad thing. He doubts it. He questions it. He's got the spirit of scientific inquiry. I want to understand this.
So you think it's less that he sees a war coming and more that he sees basically them all coming for him.
Yes. I don't think he thinks it's necessarily Inhumans versus Avengers. I think in his mind, nobody else is willing to do what Tony Stark is willing to do. That's always why I've liked him. He's kind of a great character. He'll do what needs to be done.
I understand that too, and I like that about him in this story. What I don't like is then him... that's one aspect of it, and then he does stuff that's really stupid, like kidnapping a dude from Attilan. Where it's just like, you have a hard time buying that when he is being so like, I want to keep bad things from happening. Oh, by attacking a sovereign nation.
The man was the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
He knows the difference between an act of war and an interrogation.
Yeah.
And he chose the first one.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to feel like maybe he was just emotional.
No, I mean he is.
And
They're
he
definitely
says
saying
he
that
says
too.
it right at the beginning of the book, like my best friend just died. And the book also tells us we were kind of unclear, so it seems like Jen is in a coma and Rhodey is dead.
Mm-hmm.
That is the end of
Yeah.
issue 1 that we weren't certain about.
All right, well, let's. That's pretty much what I think we can take the spoiler thing off. I'm gonna keep reading it.
Yeah, I mean it's a main event. I like keeping
I
up to
like
the things,
it.
so I do it anyway.
I like it. I think it's great.
Every issue I read, I enjoy it more and more, and I also think it's even more so than the first one. This is part of why I love pulling comics month by month. Is that like it's causing a lot of legitimately interesting conversations about superheroes and comics, and if that's sort of the idea of Civil War, I think that this is working in that sense.
All right, well, next up, now keep the spoiler thing off. Even though I'm going to spoil this book for you, I'm going to spoil it so you don't go buy it and they stop letting him write it, and then we move on to the Spider-Man I know and love. Stop stabbing me in the fucking heart, Dan Slott. He seriously, it's like he looks at you and he's like, what's all the stuff you liked about Spider-Man? What did you really like about this storyline or that storyline? Oh, yeah, let me take that and I'm just going to grind it up in a little bowl and blow it back in your fucking face. This is so sloppy. In this book now, because Mary Jane works with Tony Stark, which was a Bendis thing, Mary Jane shows up in this book with Tony Stark. And they have, Peter Parker has a little dialogue. He's throwing shit out in the conversations that is just, like, you set this shit up. You're the keeper of the continuity of this Spider-Man world right now. And this doesn't fall in line with the world you've presented us for the last, 7 years or 6 years. Oh my God, it's been so long. Get him off of my book. He seriously jokes about the fact at one point Tony Stark makes a comment that Mary Jane and Spider-Man are being a little chummy, and then Mary Jane responds with, "Oh, you know that we know each other. When Peter and I were living in Avengers Mansion."
She calls him Peter?
Huh?
She calls him Peter?
Yeah, well, she said when Peter and I were living in Avengers Mansion, Spider-Man was around and we got to know each other pretty well. And then Tony's like, I don't really have a memory of that. Or what do you, and then Jarvis is like, yeah, remember I even had a brief, kind of like he dated Aunt May for a little bit. And then Tony's like, oh yeah, I remember that. And you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? You took that away from us. And the way we've been supposed to understand it for the last 6 or 7 years is that they didn't even, that means he's now admitting, oh, they were married. No, they weren't. You told us they weren't. And you've been doing that for years. And now you're just like throwing this wishy-washy kind of shit in our faces. And then at one point when Peter and Mary Jane are talking, and he's like, I can't deal with your drama right now. And it's just, all of it feels so shoehorned and sloppy and just kind of being like, oh, you know what? I'm going to throw Mary Jane into this and have her say some stuff and fuck stuff up. And they did it numerous times throughout. I don't like, Harry Osborn has a cool moment in the book. I'll give him that. A pretty cool moment where he's outsmarting this Regent guy. But in this book, we also, it's like, who's writing the current Avengers, by the way? The new one?
Isn't it Mark Waid?
Is it Mark? Okay.
I think he's doing all new, all different, or Uncanny. He's doing one of the two.
Yeah, so Regent just like grabs all of the Avengers in this book without problem. And again, this is like Dan Slott, like I'm writing Spider-Man, fucking whatever I want. Do whatever I want, involving the entire Marvel universe. So Regent just goes around and grabs every single new Avenger and gathers all of their powers, and now Tony Stark and Spider-Man have to stop him. And it's just, it just feels so cheap, and I just don't understand what he's doing to this character and this world that he's supposedly the person that rewrote the continuity on, and then not even following the own continuity that he set. And
I wonder though about the continuity thing. I wonder if the idea is they're starting to sow the seeds of maybe post Secret Wars they're trying to bring back some of the memories. Because a lot of people were pissed when they undid the marriage, and they might be trying to sneakily trying to undo that. You might be seeing the seeds of something. I hope so, because otherwise it's just an editorial fuck up.
Because it's following everything that was in Straczynski's book. They lived in Avengers Mansion during the last Civil War. It's admitting there was the last Civil War and that they were in hiding, but why was he in hiding? Why isn't that question brought up? Wait, why would Peter Parker and Mary Jane be staying at Avengers Mansion if I don't remember that Peter Parker was Spider-Man? Yeah. That's the only reason he was there.
Yeah, that's a really big deal.
People.
Yeah, so this random couple that were not a couple stayed at the mansion that superheroes hung out at, even though neither of them were superheroes as far as Tony Stark is concerned. That's what we've got going on right now.
And
Thank you, Dan Slott.
the other thing that's really frustrating is it's completely shoehorning in. I think it's only shoehorning in the Civil War story from the past because everyone's been captured. Spider-Man's been captured. Tony Stark's been captured. The only other person in this book who can do anything is Mary Jane, and it previews the next cover of her in the Iron Spider costume. And you're just like, really? Are
Okay.
you fucking kidding me?
Doing stuff
So
like
you
that.
just shoehorn in this brief thing to be like, okay, we're going to rewrite the continuity and now say that everyone remembers Civil War happened with Peter Parker and Spider-Man and that the Iron Suit exists again. And all of a sudden now Mary Jane's going to have access to it and save the day and just rewrite, fuck it all up.
By the way, the New Jurice, Dan Slott can write comic characters well. It's
Yeah.
called Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer's
and it's
great.
Fantastic.
It's really good. He's really good on Silver Surfer. And that's why I'm so conflicted. I know he can do this shit well. Why does he hate
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
Are you
Genova,
following
yes.
the current run of Silver Surfer?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
good.
it.
Yeah.
I love the
With
art too.
Yeah, Michael.
It's so
he's great.
classic.
Aldred's amazing.
Genova, yeah, Jubilee is a vampire. Willow Wilson did that in her 4-issue X-Men run.
Do
And-
either of you guys read Amazing Spider-Man? Are either
Yeah.
of you hurt?
No,
I'm the only one that's hurt. Okay.
What? I've been sitting next to you for a few months.
I
Why
read
would I
his
pick up this book?
Crossover with Silk, but I don't read
Yeah.
his standalone.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
I was
All the
gonna
other
say you're
Spider-Man
not
books are
selling
great.
it.
Like Spider-Man with Miles Morales, great.
I like that
was
one.
Great. Robbie Thompson on Silk was really fun when he was doing that. And then like even the Spider-Woman, amazing. Spider-Gwen, great. All the other Spider books
Now they
are
have
really
like a
great.
collector. They have a collective team of them too.
Yeah. Well, that one's actually the only one that's kind of not that great. The Spider team up kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's meh.
I wasn't 100% impressed.
It hurts. Like I'm reading that and it's like as I flip the page and read something, I want to throw the book on the ground. I get so mad. I never get mad at comics like that, but it just feels like there were stories that everyone loves so much, and it feels like he hates Spider-Man. I had the same conversation with Mark Andreyko. It's like why he also agrees. Like it feels like Dan Slott hates Spider-Man. It just like he's just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Let Mark Waid write Spider-Man. I've been saying this for
Oh,
years.
yes.
Just let Mark Waid write Spider-Man. He did a couple stories a couple years ago after the whole Brand New Day thing, and despite the current continuity situation that he was in, it felt so good. Like it was really great.
Yeah.
Or sorry, my mind just went blank, and I'm gonna feel like such an asshole. It's Joe. Joe what? Fuck. Oh, I feel
Keating?
like no. He's a new guy. He's new. We interviewed him on my show, and I can't even remember his name. I feel like a jerk. It's Joe. You guys are gonna remember. He's Hector's friend. Fuck, I'm an asshole. I'll remember his name in a second. But he wrote a special last year that had the Inhumans, X-Men, and Spider-Man. The Inhuman. That's
I
special.
read that. Yeah, it was like 3 one-shots that all sort of crossed over.
He writes Spider-Man so well.
That was fantastic.
Every time Spider-Man showed up in that book, you were just like, dude, this guy should be
That
writing
was.
Spider-Man.
I remember reading that book thinking I want Spider-Man to hang out with the Inhumans more because of that one book on its own. I was like, holy crap, Peter and the Inhumans are great together.
He also had some really great moments with Jean Grey and Scott in that book too.
Yeah.
Like he was great. He was great. He writes for
Man, I really like that book. You just listed all the things I love. Peter Parker being fun, Gina Scott in general, and the Inhumans. I'm on board.
yeah. That guy writes for. My mind is completely blank. I haven't eaten. That's what's happening. Let's just move on to other books. I'll let you guys talk now. I'm
Jimmy
I'm done.
Johns.
Because the last time I really followed Spider-Man, at least the Peter Parker version, was when he was a substitute teacher at like the X school, which I loved.
Yeah, Straczynski. It was amazing.
It was
so good.
the best thing ever.
Jeff Loveness. I wasn't even Joe. It started with
yeah.
a J. I'm an idiot. Sorry, Jeff. Jeff's a great guy. Jeff Loveness. I knew his name. Just my brain. You guys talk
Great.
about Dark Knight Returns.
Dark
I'm
Knight
done.
Returns: The Last Crusade. This is a one-shot prequel to The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. and Brian Azzarello. It's Dark Knight. I feel like Dark Knight. It's that. It's JRJR, and so like the first page is like Joker being brought into Arkham, and he looks just like Kick-Ass because everybody looks like Kick-Ass these days when JRJR draws them. But it's neat. It's about Jason Todd in a very real way. How in Dark Knight Returns there's that line, Jason was a good soldier, and they imply Jason died, but that book was written before Jason actually died in the comics. And so we don't actually see Jason die in this book, but it's implied this is the last adventure Batman had before he retired, before the 10-year gap before Dark Knight. I really loved it because I love Dark Knight. Solid one shot. It's good
Solid
times.
one shot. Nice. Check it out, guys. What else we got coming up here? I did not get a chance to check out Uncanny X-Men or Black Widow.
Oh, I hate that comic. Sorry.
Black Widow book? Oh, I really like it.
Really?
Yeah,
I've only
I
heard
love
those two
art.
opinions.
I don't like Black Widow or Black Canary.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
can't stand them.
I wasn't that into the Black Canary either.
I wish she's like a rock star. Oh,
Like,
it's
I
so
would be
bad.
into that book if it weren't Black Canary. But because it's Black Canary, I'm like,
it
but
was so
you...
bad.
Anyway.
Guys, one more quick reminder. If you are new and you are watching and you just kind of walked in here, this is Hyper RPG. We are an interactive, hyperactive, community-driven channel. We do all this for you guys in the chat room, so talk to us. Say hello. If you're a lurker, say hello. I see Malkave in 1992 is a new viewer, and he's been chatting it up with us about the comic books, which is awesome. Says you look like X-23, by the way.
I'll take it.
Take it. Yeah, run with that. That book's great right now.
Yeah, it is.
So, getting back to the comics. Also, I forgot to mention this today. We're getting really close to 9,001 followers. Do you know what happens at 9,001 followers?
I do know what happens.
We unlock a very special Dragon Ball Z event with
Over
Bandai
9,000!
Namco. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So, let's get us there. Did you guys check out Justice League or Superman? Both?
I checked out both. Justice League was written by Dan Abnett, art by Paul Pelletier, which I'm always down for.
It says writers Geoff Johns.
Yeah, none of that's right.
Interesting.
None of that's there. That's all for the other Justice League stuff. That's an old solicitation. This was, if you read Titans Hunt and you want to be reading Titans, along with the Titans Rebirth that came out today, this is about the villain for that. It's a really cute story. It's about it's in the past, and it's Batman introducing Dick Grayson, the original Robin, as Robin, to the Justice League for the first time. It's got some really sweet Dick and Cyborg moments, which I've been missing as a fan of Teen Titans. And it sort of sets up this shadowy villain that we saw at the end of Titans Hunt. So it's part of Abnett's story that he's writing right now.
Okay.
And it's fun. If you
recommend?
Yeah, I recommend. If you like Dick, then it's good. And everybody knows how much I like Dick, so of course I loved it.
Well, there we go. Hotel.
Yeah.
And
Superman #1. So I know there's a lot of things that say Rebirth and #1 recently. It's a little confusing. It's because there are Rebirth specials, and then after the Rebirth special is a #1 is an ongoing series, but they still have the Rebirth banner on them. So this is Superman #1, not the Rebirth special. It's the beginning of the new run. It's about Superman and his son. And it's just got these amazing splash pages, and I have to show you one of them because even though it's simple and I've seen it a million times, I just never get sick of this beautiful image right there. Look at that. So good. There it is. Okay. This will be where I hold comics from now on. Yeah, it's about Superman. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's beautiful. It's also very much about Superman's son. It's got Pete Tomasi and Pat Gleason, who are one of my creative dream teams, together again for the first time since they did Batman and Robin, which is super exciting. But yeah, it's really about John Kent. He accidentally kills his cat when he discovers his laser vision, and it's really sad. But other than that, it's beautiful. The art is absolutely stellar. This is my book of the week, is the Superman #1, just because the art is so good.
There we go. And let's see, Lazarus #22. This is on my pull list. I will be checking it out. Did not get a chance to check it out today, unfortunately. I didn't get a chance to check out much. Ugh. It's the typical thing.
Descender came out this week.
Descender #12 came out. I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young, #6. I really want to check that one out too. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #59. Love that book.
Scooby Apocalypse is super fun.
Thank you for that resub. Very nice. I want to see some new followers. Pop up. Get to it, people. Let me see. Astonishing Ant-Man #9.
Skipped over the Dungeons and Dragons.
Sorry, did you check that one out?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
tell
been
us about
following that since. Well, last year it was running as Baldur's Gate.
It's by Jim Zub. He's
and
awesome.
now they've turned it. I don't know why they renamed it, but it actually is a solid comic. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it is because I'm such a
You're
fangirl.
Yeah.
Like I really like Mexican Boo.
That's Dylan Ja. Thank you.
Hi, Dylan. I know all
Welcome.
these names.
There's also a degree to which, though, like, it's a Dungeons and Dragons comic. Everybody who's reading this should be a fan of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
So, like,
in 1992. Thank you for the follow.
you know, it's still like you're still going in with the right perspective as an audience member.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, last year at Emerald City Comic Con.
7-7-11.
Welcome everybody.
Wait, you already followed, didn't you? Are you just unfollowing and following back again? Don't fuck with me.
Ah.
He just got called out.
He's the one who just got me to say Black Bolt's name because it's hilarious.
So
That's
I mean,
just when you hear Maximus.
so this kind of
Bolton.
reminds me a little bit of the Dark Souls comic that came out a couple weeks ago.
I actually like that one too.
It sold out and it was critically banned. I tried reading it and immediately put it down because like, no, this isn't good.
Really?
I felt like it was so like pandering and just kind of like, nah, like
liked it.
usual like video game adaptation comics where I'm like,
I liked it. I think I am a little bit of a fangirl though. I really like Dark Souls. And like having Solaire in it and everything, I was like, it's Solaire. And I don't know. I like this because it does have Mink Skin Bow.
Generics. Thank you for the follow.
Welcome.
And so I like it. Like I said, I've been following this since it was called Baldur's Gate,
Nice.
which was last year.
Would you
It's called
recommend
Baldur's
people
Gate.
throw it on their pool list?
Yeah, it just started. I say, you know what? For me, it's like for $4, try it out. Like it's better than buying a graphic novel for $20.
Get
being
to it, people.
disappointed.
Thank
Yeah.
you for following.
That is good. Yeah, it's definitely that's one of the great thing about comics is that like you can check out the first 2 issues of something for $6 and you're fine.
Have a good time with it.
Geek 40 just showed up in the chat.
I love Silverwolf. Thank you for resubbing 4 months. And Geek 40, welcome. Guys, Geek 40 won our NPC giveaway last week. If you missed it, he had a really great moment.
He did. He slowed us down a lot. It was freaking hilarious.
100% his idea. So,
Was that really all him?
no. But I want people to think
I was going
it
to give him
is.
so much props because that was my favorite part of the episode on Monday was Geek 40's guest appearance.
He just his words for me was like, just make sure he's sarcastic.
Hardest
All
boss
right.
in Bloodborne, Orphan.
I don't.
Hyper RPG asked me.
Here's 1515 Junior Ghost. Thank you for following.
Yeah, Joe once again working really hard to keep us off track. So, anyone check out Astonishing Ant-Man? Me either.
I haven't read it yet. It is on my
Oh,
pull
man,
list.
I love Astonishing Ant-Man. I really like Nick Spencer and love his style of writing, his tone. Like it a lot. So I'm
love
gonna check it out.
I love the cover too. It's so good.
Let's see, Uncanny Inhumans.
Yeah, I did not flip through this one because I don't have so many time to read books and readers on the cover. And I actually, so this is going to be a new arc because we haven't really seen Reader lately, but apparently his best friend has vanished. I actually don't mind Reader. He brings up my biggest issue with the Inhumans, which is he has a pet dog that gives him powers. And there's another dog of the Inhumans. You all know about Lockjaw?
Yes,
Anybody who's read Miss Marvel, of course, knows about Lockjaw.
Yeah.
Now, we know the way the Inhumans work, right? That there were humans that were tested on by aliens thousands or millions of years ago. That's why they can go through Terrigenesis. There's no fucking reason any dog should be able to go through Terrigenesis or have any powers or be
Yeah.
related to the Inhumans.
Dude,
especially like
they're
so
Kree
did
dogs. They're just
Reader,
Kree dogs.
Did Reader go into a Terrigenesis pod and come out like with this dog that like works with his powers? Doesn't make any fucking sense. The
And-
dogs and the Inhumans don't make any goddamn sense, and nobody has ever
Not
explained
gonna lie,
it.
when I was reading the Secret Wars run and the Inhumans showed up, I for like 2 issues thought that Reader was Daredevil's. I thought Reader was the Daredevil of the Secret Wars world.
Yeah,
So.
I get that. And his power's neat. But anyway, I'm going to read it and I'm probably going to like it because every time I'm like, Charles Soule's not going to impress me with this, he does. And every time I think Charles Soule's going to impress me with this, he doesn't. So,
Did both of you check out Green Lanterns #1?
I read the last one. I haven't read this one yet. I have it, but I haven't read it yet.
this one was very much a continuation of the Rebirth issue. It's the beginning
See, it
of
has
Red
Bleeze
Dawn.
on the cover.
Yeah, it's got Bleeze and Atrocitus and Simon and Jessica, and it is building up some Green Lanterns versus Red Lanterns shit. And yeah, it's the beginning of some Green Lantern stuff. It's great because it opens up like the first page is like at the beginning of time there was nothing and then a hand and then light. It's like I love when Green Lantern books kind of start out with like here's this whole big universe and the lore of Green Lantern and kind of this sort of genesis moment because it's a very easy. It's like when you see an X-Men book where they start off in the danger room. You know that you can jump in the beginning of this. You know that they're thinking new readers are going to check this out and they need to learn things.
Yeah.
So this is definitely one of those. If you're a fan of the Red Lanterns, which most people are.
They're awesome.
Like since the Red Lanterns showed up, everybody's been like, I really want to check out the Red Lanterns. And they've been in 2 solid stories since then, and looks like this is going to be our 3rd.
I have a Death Star poster, and I've never seen as much interest in it as I have lately, where people are like, "That's Dexter," and I'm like, before I would be like, "Why is that cat wearing a lantern ring?"
Is that a Red Lantern
Actually,
cat thing?
I actually like this question that just came in from Saint Escapee. Or Sinescapy, sorry. I should have said Sinescapy. Sorry about that. What's your favorite comic book universe before, since you are new here today, we probably should have led with that,
Oh.
What's your favorite comic book universe or book?
Well, I would have to go with what was my introduction to comic books in general, and that's Sandman.
Nice.
I started out with Sandman and Preacher, and then I moved on to Promethea, and then went backwards to Watchmen.
Nice.
Watchmen. And then from there, I went to conventional comics. So I almost went like ass backwards because most people do the mainstream stuff and then they go to those kind of.
You're in good company. I mean,
Yeah. I think that's actually not true anymore. These days, like I was talking to the guy in my comic store recently about this, how I usually give somebody something like Watchmen for their first comic, and he's like, that's way too much. And for me, I think usually you don't. When I get people into comics, it's not, hey, you can understand this. It's more I'm trying to show, look, this is mature, this is adult, this is real literature. Like this is not just kid stuff. So I show them Watchmen first because that's the perfect example of this can be superheroes and real, and then you can show them like, okay, now we can do that with Captain America and Batman too. You just need to find the right books.
Yep.
For me, because of the popularity of things like Game of Thrones and superhero movies, I always throw people Saga because I feel like Saga is the
Saga's
perfect
amazing.
blend of like fantasy, heroism, over the top, and like, but while telling a good story.
And it's a good love
introducing them.
story. I mean, at its core.
Yeah, Saga is just also a fantastic story. So
I
for
think
me,
Saga is actually probably easier to market because it does have really lovable main characters. And one thing I really loved about Sandman going into it is it was that emo teenage period of my life, and I loved how Morpheus was actually kind of a dick at the beginning. Like he throws a woman into hell for all of eternity just because she doesn't want to be a god. Like when you think about that, you're like, okay, there's no such thing as white or black like characters in this universe. Everything is gray. And then I mean Neil Gaiman in general, like the mysticism in it was just insane, and I loved it. And it started my whole love affair with like Lucifer, and then from there I started reading Constantine, and from there I stared reading, Doctor Strange. So my foray into Marvel actually, Marvel and DC came from Sandman, because I was like, wow, when I originally saw Constantine like as a comic, as a single, I was like, this to me kind of reminds me of Lucifer, and people are like, really? I'm like, it just does, like the light blonde hair and the way he is. And so for me, that's how I started. I started with Sandman and Preacher, which is why I always talk about the show. The show coming out is like the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Dude, it is. It's funny because I feel like The Preacher is the closest thing we've ever gotten to anime on American television.
Oh yeah.
Because it feels like an anime cartoon as a TV show.
That's so neat.
Through its kinetic cutting and its camera angles, and it's not over the top, but as a show, it has a flow to it and an attitude that feels very almost like Japanese.
And it's like surreal too.
Super
and even
surreal.
just the way they like put the name of the location up really big, like Texas, and they do it like in all caps and stuff. That right there it's like an anime move.
Yeah.
And one thing I was talking about with my buddy Base LaRock, we talk about comics on my channel. We love the color palette.
Yeah.
Everything's really red and orange, and it kind of, as soon as the show starts and if you watch it in the dark like I do because you're a creeper, your whole room turns orange. It sets the theme, and that reminds me of Cowboy Bebop.
No, totally.
When the beginning credits of Cowboy Bebop used to roll, you're like transported in from that moment, right?
Oh, the Preacher,
And
but with none of the
does
Steve
that.
Dillon.
Yeah, and
Which is what I need to get
And
more
now
of the
that they
Preacher,
added
is to
in
have
the-
not Steve Dillon involved.
In the last episode of Preacher, they even added like the beginning credits, and that only made it seem more like, get ready, you're going to a different world for the next,
That being said, I just checked out Outcast. Holy shit, was it good? That pilot that is good.
Haven't checked it out
Dude,
yet.
it is great.
Really?
Are you a fan of horror?
Yes.
Watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of horror, so I'm not going to keep watching it. But like, I watched that first episode and I was like, "Holy shit, it was so good!" Like
That's good TV right
I
there.
usually would have turned it off because it's just not my kind of thing. I don't enjoy like the thrill of horror. I don't get that thrill as much. But it's kind of thing where I was like, I would buy this show without even if I hated it, because I could just tell it's just so fucking well made. It's beautiful.
It's pretty
Creepy.
good. It's pretty good.
Robert Kirkman.
You watch a little kid like eat his own finger. Like
Yeah, I saw that.
pretty good. Pretty good.
The first episode of Outcast is on HBO Go if you have HBO Go.
I think it's Showtime.
It's Showtime is the one that are doing it, and so, but I don't have Showtime. I have HBO Go. That's why I was able to watch
Wait,
it.
it's on HBO Go.
The
though?
first
Do they
episode.
own Showtime now?
I don't know. I think it might just be a cross promotion thing. I wouldn't be surprised if the second
That is
episode
weird.
would
They're like
require me to
mortal
buy
enemies.
it. But I was very surprised. I was looking through HBO Go. I was like, Outcast. There we go.
Cool.
Watch the first episode.
Now they're saying it's on Stars. Or maybe, I don't know.
Oh, it's Cinemax. That's what it is.
I don't even know.
It's
on
Cinemax. I do know that one. Cinemax is the one who's producing it. It's possible other people like Stars or HBO are carrying it.
We just watched it.
But it's creepy as shit.
I'll have to check it out.
Please do. It's pretty good. All right. Any other books as we're winding out of the end here?
I flipped through the X-Men tie-in Civil War because I thought it was going to have the Inhumans in it. I ended up just sort of looking at the pictures because it didn't have the Inhumans in it. It had Magneto's Uncanny team meeting up with Storm's, I want to say, Extraordinary team. Mm-hmm. And they meet in Dubai where the Terrigenesis cloud now is apparently and have different opinions on how to deal with things.
Of course they do. That's just how it works. Now, you brought up Lucifer earlier. Are you reading Lucifer?
I am. This actually follows the show. And
really?
Yeah, and I don't watch the show, so it's really different for me because I actually have the original singles from the Lucifer spinoff way back when the Sandman was running. So, this actually follows the show completely. So I've gone back and I've started watching this show just so I have a little bit more background. I don't know how I feel about it yet because I think it does cater to people who like the show.
Yeah, and not as much the comic.
Yeah, it's different. Which I was taken aback by because they even used the same font from the original run of Lucifer.
Right.
Yeah.
And Scott, did you check out the new
did
Invincible?
check out Invincible.
Okay, please tell me. I didn't get a chance to read it yet, and I want
Invincible
to really
never
bad.
goes by without me checking it out. Corey Walker has been filling in on art while Ryan Ottley takes a break after 128 issues, but also to make that Bear Shark book that we talked about last week. That's fucking crazy. So anyway, we see a little bit of Robot in the beginning. This issue opens up with Robot, whom we've not seen in 5 years. Mark time. This issue has a lot of those people we haven't seen in a while. And that was very nice. It's got Robot. It's got Invincible's father. It's got a little bit of Thrag. On the cover, of course, we see that Thrag now has 2 children.
Whoa.
These 2 little that is presumably are from the same planet Oliver is from, because we saw that he's sort of been breeding soldiers on that planet, which is very, very frightening, if you know Thrag. We also see the return of, I forget her name, but the Viltrumite woman that raped Mark, whom we've not seen in a while. She comes back and asks if Mark's okay, and Eve loses her shit. But that's coming back, and there's a big old cliffhanger involving her at the end that I'm not going to spoil, but I have no idea what the fuck is going to go on next.
Oh, man, I'm 3 issues behind. I got to catch
up.
up.
Oh, dude, you got to get your shit together, man. It's so good. And of course, there's more of Mark playing with his daughter, where I would read a whole spinoff of just Mark and Tara just playing together. Just Leave America #9 did not come out this week. That one's been very delayed.
All right. Well, Archer and Armstrong #4 came out. The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong. Now, I am a huge Valiant fan, and I keep up with every single book that comes out, especially now that I'm GMing it in their universe, and I'm trying to make it modern times. So I'm always like, oh, is there anything going on I can use? Now, for the next episode, we will be borrowing some things that from the Archer and Armstrong universe. I can say that I've got some stuff that might get thrown in. Let's just say because you're on 6th Street and that's Skid Row, and hobos are involved. Mm-hmm. There's a good opportunity there. Hopefully that comes up. This book has a much it's trying to capture the tone of the original Archer and Armstrong that was done so well. Mm-hmm. It feels like their first book that's almost trying to get the preteen audience in a weird way.
Yeah, it's funny because I've not, I'm still behind on Valiant. I'm still trying to catch up. I'm on my way to Act 4 now, so I'm close. I flipped through this morning when I was at the comic book store, and there are so damn many panels and so damn many words that it looked very much like a younger comic, which, I don't think preteens should be reading Valiant. Or if so, they should be prepared for it to be Valiant,
It's really, the art is really light. It goes super cartoony at times. It's not something I'm accustomed to in the Valiant universe. There's some fun moments because it's Archer and Armstrong, and, this whole story came out of them having to jump inside his bag and get some alcohol that he promised. A friend of his died, and with Armstrong, this is a recurring theme. His friends, he gets older, they don't. And he has this alcohol he's going to put on the grave of the person, and that was something he promised to him and all this stuff, and he can't find it. So now he's dives into his bag as a drunk idiot, and Archer has to go in and save him and bring the nuns with him. and all that sounds really weird when you say it out loud. But Bukakis is in it, and it's just weird. It's just weird. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I like this new creative team on it. I'm still trying to figure that out.
There are some things that I think just work like in any setting. Like if you can, as long as they're not way out of left field, if they fit the setting, they're going to be badass. Like I really think sometimes vampires, you can just mix them also, throw vampires in there. Ninja nuns are one of those things. Ninja nuns pop up in Archer and Armstrong all the time, and every time it happens, it's fucking awesome, without fail.
All right, Joyride number 3 also came out this week. Go check it out. The creators are friends of ours.
Friends Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly.
Now an ongoing series.
Yes, this is not Joyride number 3 of 4. This is simply Joyride number 3. This book has the prettiest colors. If you just like color in general, you will enjoy this book. In this book, they've escaped Earth in the past 2 issues, and their spaceship is damaged, and they're falling into the orbit of a planet inside of a forbidden zone where there are robots that are like trying to kill them. And so there's like a bunch of reasons why they're in danger, and they got to get themselves out of it. It totally felt like an episode of sci-fi TV from like 30 years ago. And like, there's all these things going on. We got to figure out how to solve them. And by the end, we do. It was a really fun issue.
Those guys are huge sci-fi dorks, so it doesn't surprise me. That's their like bread and butter.
And it's like, it's intense but funny at the same time. They balance emotion in that book so well. It's
all
really
right,
good.
guys, we are winding down here towards the end of our show. Like I said,
Okay, what's Vote Loki? What's that about?
I did read that.
What's
I read
going
that
on
one
with
too. That
Vote
one was
Loki?
good.
You want to talk about it?
Sure.
Go for it.
Loki runs for president, and
There you go. That's the setup.
There's like this. I don't know. This comic had to be like pitched a while ago, I'm assuming, right? But it seems very poignant with what's
It
going
seems
on politically right now.
Pretty on the nose.
Yeah. So there's a shot at Hillary in it. There's a shot at Trump in it. I don't think I saw a shot at Bernie though. And basically, Loki kind of makes fun of how crappy our election is this year, and in a kind of depressing way.
Interesting.
At one point, he literally morphs into a woman and says that he'd have a better chance winning because he would have the whole first female president sort of marketing going behind him.
Yeah.
He's more marketable as a woman. And I was just like, huh, okay, all right. Are you trying to say something? Like, the entire comic was that way, too. Like, he, like, eggs on the NRA and he like, looks into the television screen and it's just like, I'm going to lie to you and you're going to like it. You know, he's just a total scumbag about the whole thing.
Enmaker pointed this out. This is interesting. Apparently, the book was Tom King's idea, but the exclusivity contract prevented him from writing it. That's very interesting because I feel like, from a Tom King perspective, that book would have a lot, the political weight of all of his books, for him being a spy, is always very serious.
Okay. So what's funny is I don't have it on the table with me, but this is my pick of the week.
Wrath of the Eternal Warrior.
Holy shit. Wrath of the Eternal Warrior has been one of my favorite Valiant books that they've put out ever, and that says a lot. This book just keeps getting fucking better, and the art is just so pretty. Raoul Allen is killing it. And there was a little bit there. So the Wrath of the Eternal Warrior starts with the death of the Eternal Warrior at the end of one of the big events from last year. And like, he goes down at the end of the Valiant, basically, and he's dead. So this book starts with him being dead, and
Valiant
it's
just fucked up
something you
everything.
find out happens a lot. And he has a family in the afterlife. And this family like only gets to see him when he dies. So every time he dies, he goes back to his family. And there's like, he has this whole relationship with one of his older sons.
Thank you for
Thank
resubscribing.
you for resubscribing. He has one of these relationships with one of his older sons, and it is limbo. They don't age, so they're stuck that way. And these are family members he's had throughout history that have also died. These are all his different children that have been murdered and killed over his life, and he can only see them when he dies. But so he's like, at the first couple books, he's kind of like tempted to stay there for once. But then you realize the Earth is calling him back. So every time he dies, the Earth calls him back. He finally gets back this time, and he wakes up in this like testing facility. And we have this Sovereign, this guy who is also kind of an immortal, but in a different way. And that he has to reclaim a different body and all this stuff. And you find out he's been studying the Eternal Warrior for years, and he's spent all this money and resources to build this facility to basically kill him over and over and over and over again and study him and try to study where the Earth's powers get to him and how he reforms and dies and reforms and dies. And this happened last book and this book, and at the end of this book he finds like a really fucking awesome way to turn the tables, but it's also really sad, and there's a bunch of stuff going on underneath about his family that's in the afterlife, because there's just really smart sequential storytelling. I wish I had the book here to show you some of the panels, because it's just so pretty. And there's like one page, I tweeted it a couple days ago, and I read the book of the sequential paneling of him dying over and over and over again and waking up. And so good. That's my pick of the week, and they didn't even have it at the store, and I'm really bummed about it, because I wanted to show you guys like the physical copy of it. But it's only 8 issues in. It's really easy to catch up on that book. It's one of the best stories I think that Venditti's told for Valiant yet. And he was the one who started the Exo Manowar run that you said you had been checking out.
Right.
So that's all the time we have today.
Okay.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming
you
out
for
and joining
having
us.
me. Anytime.
We'd
Real
love to have
quick,
you come back. Yeah.
We had a question in the chat. I do want to ask you, what, if any, Valiant comics are you pulling?
Right now, there's 2 of them I was talking to you about before the show. I'm reading the newer run of Exo Manowar, and then I'm reading his crossover. I can't think of the name right
Unity?
now. It just started. The number 1 was last week.
The 4001 AD?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. 4001 AD. So that takes place 2,000 years in the future.
Yes.
So, sweet.
It's new for me. So.
Right on.
I've been with Image and Dark Horse and Vertigo for a long. Well, Vertigo's no longer like kind of off the beaten path, but yeah.
All right, guys. So coming up next, we've got Watching Paint Dry with Viking Lass.
Yeah.
And then after that, we've got Corporate Wars and Corporate Sins. And after that, we've got Honesty Hour. It's a full day of programming here in Hyper RPG. Once again, we are an interactive, hyperactive, community-driven live streaming channel, and we operate here for you guys. Please throw us a follow, throw us a subscribe. We are only 2 subscribers away, or 3? 2 or 3 away from doing a Steam Key giveaway. We let that run throughout the day. Every 5, we give one away. And we have all sorts of fun games to give you guys. Or throw us a follow. When we get to 9,001 followers, we schedule a giant event with Bandai Namco to celebrate the new Dragon Ball Z game coming up soon. So we want to hit that. Thank you, Bronze Girl, for coming out. Make sure you guys follow her channel. Come back anytime and hang out with us.
This was awesome.
It'd be really fun. All right, Joe, are you ready? Yeah, shut it down.
Let's
Let's
go,
go.
Joe. Get us out of here.
Stick around. 10 more minutes till the next show.
We got more comics to read.